welcome. This is a stretch session. I'm going to call this rainy day stretch. We'll put on some really serene rain sounds in the background, and so whether it's dark and cloudy and rainy outside for real or not, we can kind of set that mood here. Sometimes those are the best days to just get a nice relaxing stretch in. Stretching in general can be a great way to spend a day off from working out. Our bodies always need time to recoup and rejuvenate, and so rather than not doing anything on your off days, doing a nice stretch session like this is a great way to just kind of promote that recovery. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. One piece of equipment that you will need today is some sort of stretching tool. Now, if you've got one of these ropes that I highly recommend, you can grab that. If not though, no worries at all. I'm going to be demonstrating with a rolled up towel. So those of you who want to go kind of the more low-tech version with the towel here, I'll show you exactly what to do with that. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to bring the legs out wide in front of us like this. We inhale here. Just begin to close the eyes. Take some relaxing, deep breaths. And since this is a stretching session and really focused on relaxation as the goal, I want you to make them nice, deep belly breaths. So we can kind of ignore for now the Pilates style breathing with the rib cage, because right now, rather than trying to recruit a lot of power and strength, we're trying to get our muscles to relax and let go. Best way to do that, deep belly breaths, okay? As you breathe, try to identify any areas that are feeling tense or tight, and mentally direct your air to those spots. Give them permission to let go, and imagine yourself exhaling all of the tightness away. Now very gently begin to fall forward toward your mat, toward the floor, but just to your boundary of tension. Just to where it feels like, it's a nice stretch, but any farther might be a little uncomfortable. That's where you want to go. Not to discomfort, just to the boundary right before it. And as you remain in this stretch, you might find that what once felt like your boundary of tension now has moved out a little bit. So you can follow your boundary of tension, all right? It will change as you go through these stretches because the muscles will become more limber and pliable. And as they do, your boundary of tension moves further away. It changes so you can follow it. Feel free to drop the head here as well and round the spine. And now walking the hands back up to the starting position, we're going to do what I call the rainbow, and it's a dynamic stretch. We're going to come down to one side, sweep the other arm up and over and reach, and then lift and go to the other side. So we land one hand down before we lift the other one up. That's really important so that the spine stays supported the whole time. Come down, around, and we're moving the whole time, but it's really slow. So we're avoiding any kind of a bouncy motion here, just keeping everything really smooth, really controlled, nice and relaxed and slow. And the reason it's called the rainbow is because you can imagine yourself painting the stripes of the rainbow here. And I want you to start with the bottom stripe, which would be, I guess, purple, right? So imagine you're doing the purple stripe here. And then as you come up the next time, you have to reach just a tiny bit higher because now we're painting blue. There you go. And coming up again, this time we're painting green, so you have to reach just a little higher and a little farther. You've got it. So just follow that rainbow every time, painting one stripe up. And we'll do one more here. Reach, top of the rainbow. And down and hold. Just linger here. Now we'll change the angle of this stretch slightly. So right now, your face is kind of facing to the front of the room and you're opened kind of sideways like this. So I just want you to re-angle real gently and slowly so that now you're facing your foot, okay? And the arms are kind of straddled on either side of the leg. Just finding the boundary of tension and breathing. Slowly walking up to the center. Same thing other side. We're going to start out in our kind of rainbow position here. But then we will shift a little bit so that the arms come down. We're now facing the foot. And moving to the top, back to the center. We're going to bend the knees in a little bit. Take your time coming out of that position. Bring the bottoms of the feet together here. Sit up nice and tall. And now fold forward just from your hips. So we're trying not to round the spine at all here, if you can. Find your boundary of tension here. And if it's comfortable, feel free to put a little bit of gentle pressure on your legs with your elbows, just to deepen the stretch. You might find that as you're pressing down, the legs are really resisting. And there's muscles in the glutes specifically and in those outer thighs that are holding onto a lot of tension. Try to breathe into those, give them permission to let go, and just kind of surrender and give in to the stretch. On your next exhale, round the spine, drop the head. And go ahead and stack the spine. Come on back to your starting position. Nice job. Find a comfortable seated position. Maybe that's cross-legged or some other way of sitting. And I just want you to drop one ear down to the shoulder. Feel free to kind of tweak the angle here. So if you want to move the head ever so slightly to find where it feels really good and really find that spot where your neck is the tightest and really needs this stretch. Now we'll take the opposite arm behind the back, and now with this other free hand, you're going to reach back and just hold on to the wrist and slide it out just a little bit. So you're stretching now the neck from both directions. Gently release, drop the chin down, and roll it up to the other side so the other ear comes to the shoulder. It's really helpful here if the opposite shoulder can be feeling like it's pulling down away from the ear, because that will assist in the stretch. And now slide this hand back behind the back, hold onto the wrist, and give a very gentle little tug out to the side. Perfect. Nice job. Let's release that. And now we're just going to open up the chest. So the hands come up, the palms are facing up, and we're going to move the arms out to the sides just so we open that whole upper body and chest. And now see if you can turn the hands just a little bit farther so that the palms are facing not just up toward the ceiling, but very slightly angling back. Now, if that becomes uncomfortable, then just come to the point where it's not uncomfortable. But if you can kind of be aiming in that direction and then pull the arms back even a tiny bit farther, you will really open not just the chest, but also the biceps. Okay, these muscles right here on the top part of the arm. While we're doing this, think about lengthening up through the spine, lifting the chest. Good. Roll the shoulders up, down, and back. Nice work. All right, we're going to transition here to all fours. So you can reposition on the mat and just roll over the knees if that's comfortable, or find all fours another way. And from this position, we're just going to do what we call thread the needle. And this is often included in some of my yoga workouts as well, so you may have seen this before. But you'll take your back hand, slide it underneath, right between your hand and your knee, and just allow your head now to drop down to the mat. Gently push back up to the top, and we'll go the other way. Same thing. Thread the needle, slide underneath, and drop the head down. Let's press back up to the top. And I want us to do a little bit of cat and cow stretch right here. So rounding the spine, dropping the head, especially thinking here about rounding the lower part of the spine, tucking the tailbone as if it's kind of tucking between the legs. That will help to promote the kind of mobility in the lower back that we're looking for. And then moving through flat back into your cow stretch, where now we have a little bit of a dip or a depression in the spine. We're lifting the head, we're lifting the tailbone. So a lot of times it's actually a little easier to make the arch in the lower part of the back, the lumbar spine. But if we can think of trying to make the depression here through more of the mid-back, that will again help to increase mobility through that part of the spine. All right, let's come back to flat back. And we're just going to move now to our supine position, meaning that our face is up, and we're going to grab our stretching aids. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the rolled up towel, or you can grab your rope or necktie or yoga strap or whatever you're using. All right, let's go ahead and roll down to the floor. And from here, we're gonna place the towel around the middle of one foot, just holding on to the ends here. And you can see how already you have a lot of control on this stretch, right? You can manipulate how deep the stretch is. So find what feels like a good position for you. Your knee can be slightly bent if you need that. It's best though if you can keep it straight, even if that means that you're kind of down here rather than up toward the ceiling. So you just find that point that works for you. And breathe deep into that stretch. You should be feeling this in the hamstrings, as well as you'll feel some stretch here in the attachments right there behind the knee. Now check your positioning here. This is more effective if you can have a gentle imprint while you're doing this stretch. So think about your low back, very gently pressed into the mat, not jammed, and also your neck. Okay, so what position is your head in? What position is your neck in? Try to tuck that chin. And just get a little bit of imprint going with your neck as well. If it's comfortable, you can extend the other leg out. That usually deepens the stretch quite a bit, so you judge whether that's right for you today. And now we'll move into just a little bit of dynamic stretching. So you're going to come down a couple of inches. And just draw it into your boundary of tension. Come down. And up. Notice how slowly I'm moving here. I'm not forcing or jamming anything. Not bouncing. Moving slowly and with control. Just up to the boundary of tension and then releasing. So you experience the boundary of tension for like a split second right here, and then you immediately release it back down. Good job. Let's try one more. We come in, release back to a more neutral position here. Now, let's go ahead and drop the leg across toward the other one. So stretch a whole new group of muscles. And then moving gently back up and to the other side now. So the leg comes out to the other side. You can continue to hold on to that rope or towel. Try to make sure that your body is not rolling to the side that it's being pulled to by the leg. So in this case, the body's going to want to kind of lift this way, but anchor yourself down with this other arm and with the shoulder. So you have kind of a counterbalance on this side. And now let's gently bring that back up to the top, bend the knee, and release. Moving to the other side. So we place the towel or rope around the foot, straighten the leg, and find the boundary of tension. If straight leg is just not comfortable, a bent knee is fine as well. Check here on your imprint. Again, watching the position of the head and neck and the low back specifically. If it's comfortable here, you can gently extend the other leg down to the floor. If, though, you feel like this makes your low back pop up off of the mat and you lose your imprint, then just keep it in the bent position, no problem. And now beginning the dynamic stretch where we let go and come forward a few inches. Draw in just to the boundary of tension, stay there for a split second, and immediately release. Good job. You might notice here as you're doing these stretches, the differences between your sides. I'm noticing, for instance, that this leg is a lot more limber than the other side. It's just a lot more willing to come in farther toward my chest and toward my face. So very different boundaries of tension on both sides. All right, last one. Come in, controlled and slow, back to the center. Cross down over the other leg, getting a nice stretch here for the hip abductors, those outer thighs. You will also feel this again behind the knee, all the way through that outer thigh, perhaps the glutes a little bit as well. Gently lifting back to the top and out to the other side for that inner thigh stretch. Feel free to counterbalance the weight with the opposite arm if that's helpful for you. Great job. Releasing back to center. And we can take that rope or towel off for now. We're done with that for today. Let's just hug the knees in toward the belly and do some nice little low back circles. All right, now take one leg and I want you to cross the foot over the opposite thigh. You'll reach through, hold on to that other thigh with your hands, and just try to relax your head back down. Now, the position of this leg is not as important, so the knee can be bent, that's totally fine, or it can be straight, whatever is comfortable for you here. Again, check your imprint. A lot of times on this particular stretch, the neck likes to come out of alignment. So just try to reset the chin tuck. And now if it's comfortable, you can hold on to this leg, the one that has the knee bent, just to give you a little bit more control over the stretch. The other leg drops down, and now you're kind of like cradling that leg in your arms. And you can really now manipulate the stretch to be the exact angle and intensity that feels good for you. Good. Let's release that down and do the same thing on the other side now. So we'll cross the ankle over the thigh. Now cradling the leg in the arms, the other leg comes down. Find just the right angle and intensity that feels good for you. And hold here, closing the eyes and breathing deeply through the stretch. And when you're ready, you can release that down as well. Let's move here into pencil stretch. So the arms come back behind the head and the legs stretch forward in the opposite direction. Reaching and stretching as far as you can. And release. One more pencil stretch. Reach. Good, and release. Let's make our way back up to a seated position. You can do that by rolling up or getting here however is comfortable for you. We'll just return to where we started. Take a couple of nice deep breaths in to finish us off today. So inhale here, reach toward the ceiling. And exhale. Take a moment to just notice how your body feels. Hopefully relaxed. Hopefully a little different than when you started this session today. The muscles should all feel a little bit more limber. The body just have this nice fluid quality to it. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you feel great and I hope that you've enjoyed this rainy day stretch, whether it's really raining or not where you are. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.